Before we go any further, just want to say today's video is going to be brought to you by Fandomion. If you want to buy some really awesome anime merch from My Hero Academia, Attack on Titan, and Haiku, and so many other anime, I recommend using my link in the description box to check them out. And there's free worldwide shipping on orders over $39. You'll also get an additional 5% off using my promo code down below. For any of you guys who might be interested or on the fence, I highly recommend checking out their website. Pay attention to the size chart. That'll be the biggest thing I would tell you guys. But with that being said, though, let's jump back into today's video. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto Naruto Next Generation discussion on the fallout from Boruto chapter 80. And today, I wanted to bring up something that one of my patrons reached out to me to discuss, which is why during the time skip, Kawaki focusing on Boruto isn't the only thing that should be near the top of his attention, but rather why he should also be concerned about Amado, who Kawaki should be paying even more attention to than he already likely will. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at why this is, break down the pros and cons of the situation at hand, and why there's actually some foreshadowing for Kawaki running into a problem with Amado. And we're not even gonna factor in what Momoshiki said when he warned Kawaki, hey, keep getting yourself used by people like Amado and you will end up getting fed to the 10 tails. We're not gonna go down that route. Instead, we're gonna look at some other things. So jumping right into it, I think the first thing that we have to take a look at is the fact that Kawaki right now, due to having shown he's willing to go to extremes and focus in on eliminating his problems in full, one at a time, runs the risk of being too focused on Boruto that he doesn't see the moves being made around him. Very similar to the fact that Madara was so focused on the infinite Tsukiyomi, he didn't see Zetsu lurking in the shadows ready to betray him. One thing that we know for certain is that while Amado might not be the strongest person in the room, he's both patient and he's also one of the smartest, if not the smartest guy in the room. And that's a very dangerous combination to have at your disposal if you're someone like Amado. It doesn't matter if you read the 33 Strategies of War, the Art of War, or the 48 Laws of Power. There is a common overlap in each of these books that deals with strategy and being tactical, which is the person who plans all the way until the end is the person who is the most dangerous because they have a clear end goal in mind and how to reach it, and they've created contingency plans for any unexpected circumstances that pop up, while also understanding the need to be flexible to adjust their plan in order to reach their desired outcome. Sometimes the fastest road to a goal isn't to just go straight, but sometimes it's to take what might appear to be a detour, but in reality that detour ends up being the path of least resistance towards your goal. Right now, we know that there is a shinjutsu at work which will make everyone affected by it believe that Boruto's the boy who is raised by Kar and who ultimately betrayed Naruto and killed him, and Kawaki is actually Naruto's son. However, while we do know that the shinjutsu makes people like Sasuke who see things that they know are wrong and feel it in the pit of their stomach and they know that it's out of place, we know that there's an invisible force from within them telling them to ignore the things they see that are wrong and just accept it as being the reality presented to them. I don't think it's the craziest thing that just as Sasuke is actively fighting to suppress his own doubts because he has something bigger than himself, i.e. Sarada telling him, hey, all of this is a deception, the same thing might end up being true for Amado. Allow me to explain where my patron is going with this. So Amado is going to notice Kawaki's body, that his body is filled with ninja tech that Amado created. Amado's technology was already stated to be years ahead of anything that Konoha could have done, which is scary given that Konoha is already years ahead of all the other ninja villages. Amado's going to recognize his own research. Amado has his own research, and in those files, Kawaki's name is likely written down on them. Amado's mind and memories will tell him that Boruto's the one who he operated on, pumped him full of ninja tech. He's the one that Jigen was beating on a daily basis, but Amado's data will say the opposite. Just as Sasuke chose to believe in his daughter, his own flesh and blood, Amado's likely to believe in his research because that is literally Amado's brainchild. While it's not a child of a physical sense like Sarada is to Sasuke, there is something to be said about a scientist and their own research and the fact that there's a very close personal attachment to it. Amado has shown that he is a logical person, and one of the core themes of Boruto is answering the question of where does science fit in this world of shinobi. Amado seeing the data in front of him and comparing it against his own memories as well as his knowledge that Ada has Shibai's DNA isn't gonna be someone who isn't gonna put two and two together. Amado lives in a world where a teenage girl who he modified with ninja tech and Shibai's DNA as a binding agent is able to make someone her love slave placed under her control. He's seen a vessel for an alien who was able to shrink himself down and live inside that vessel's body, feeding on its brain. Whereas someone like Sasuke says that he can't trust his own memories and it worries him, Amado knows just based off of the data that something is wrong, and once Kawaki starts using his karma, potentially using that transformed state, and Amado sees it, Amado better than anyone else knows what Ishiki's horn pattern looks like. He's seen it while being a member of KAR. He's probably seen it in his nightmares. Between that and the data in his possession, Amado will know that something is off. That being said, Amado isn't above holding the cards close to himself to prevent that information from getting out until he wants it to, in order to maintain his leverage over Kawaki. Amado is someone who purposely will become an agent of chaos, making problems to give himself more leverage by presenting the fixes to those said problems. Before acting, Amado is likely to test out how far the effects of the shinjutsu have spread and if there's a similar consequence for trying to resist Ada's control powers, where he warned Shikamaru trying to inflict lethal harm on Ada while you're under her control basically means your brain will destroy itself in the process. How far can one go to mentally resist this shinjutsu that has altered everyone's memory and is telling them to disregard the reality that they see, and what will be the ramifications and effects of doing so? That's a question that has to be answered, but it's a question that Amado is likely to ask, but not because he wants to help Konoha. He merely wants to help himself, and if helping Konoha in the process is what's going to give him the best route to getting what he wants, then he do so, but he also help Kawaki if it also gets him what he wants faster, which is ultimately his daughter's soul placed in the Delta's body, which is a physical clone of his daughter Abiki, and the only person who can do that for him is Kawaki himself. There within lies the problem, and there within lies what my patron says could very well end up being a silent cold war between Amado and Kawaki. Amado and Kawaki, they need each other, and yet at the same time there is no love lost between the two, in particular on Kawaki's end. He's going to be one of the first people who Kawaki has to tell the truth to, because he literally needs Amado to perform maintenance on the ninja tech inside his body, otherwise it will not operate to peak efficiency. Placing that level of trust in someone like Amado, that is dangerous, but it's the only option Kawaki has for this problem of his, and in his own mind he thinks he has some leverage over Amado in that he's the only one who can place the karma onto Delta and revive Amado's daughter into her clone's body. But unbeknownst to Kawaki, Amado has that shutdown command programmed into Kawaki's body, which brings up the other question. Does Ada even tell Kawaki about that command? That's a question we have to ask, and that's actually where things get a little tricky. Ada did say that she is disgusted with Kawaki, literally going so far as to call him a coward behind his back. There is a chance that she doesn't say anything to Kawaki, but does she really have the luxury to not inform Kawaki about Amado's shutdown command? Think about it for a second. Not only is she going to refuse to help Kawaki search for Boruto and Sasuke, something that will set Kawaki off, but Shikamaru was also told by Amado before the shinjutsu was put into place that he had a shutdown code made for Kawaki that only Amado could activate, which completely pissed off Shikamaru that Amado withheld some information like that. Shikamaru now thinks that that command works on Boruto, and it's too valuable of a tool in the mind of someone like Shikamaru to not consider using it at some point in the series itself, especially if Shikamaru thinks that Boruto is too strong for them to actually capture, which means Kawaki will inevitably hear of a plan to use Amado and his shutdown code on Boruto, which Kawaki will immediately know that shutdown code, that's something Amado planted into Kawaki's own body. Someone like Amado, who is willing to play chess with Ishiki to destroy his vessel Jigen, remove Kawaki's karma, weaken Konoha in the process, knowing full well if they defeated Ishiki, they would come out of that battle with some heavy casualties at the bare minimum, and place himself in a position to have Kawaki take back the karma seal so that he can use Kawaki to revive his dead daughter. Someone like that isn't going to be above finding other leverage points for himself in order to keep himself from being killed, because if he's ever forced to remove that code from Kawaki's body, he's gonna become expendable. He's going to look for another method to control the options. I think my patron raised the possibility of Amado and Kawaki being in a sort of a cold war. That is possible, and Kawaki is dealing with someone in Amado who is patient enough to think a few moves ahead and build the leverage that he needs. If there is some other motive besides just reviving his daughter, or if this Hail Mary attempt to revive his daughter does indeed fail, there's something else he hasn't shared as an attempt. While he said that this is literally his last option, the thing about desperate people is that when their backs are against the wall, there are no lines that they won't cross in order to get what they want. That being said, I'm curious to know you guys' thoughts on this. Do you think Amado will find more leverage over Kawaki once he learns about the shinjutsu? Will Kawaki get rid of Amado once he finds out about the shutdown code that Amado kept secret? While you think that over, click here to watch my Black Clover chapter 359 review, which, wow, this was a big chapter.